This is your host, Primo, and today we're going to be talking about Audrain's Supercar Show and spring is in the air. Is it time to detail your car? We'll be right with you. 2 seconds. Hey everybody, and welcome back to Carside Chats. I am your host Primo, and it's been a crazy day. The weather has been up and down. I don't know what I'm doing. There's just it's the car shows are getting crazy. And the crazy thing is that most of the big car shows out there right now a lot of them are exotic, supercar, definite concourse stuff. So it's stuff that we're working on right now. So we're going to go a little bit over that in the future. But what I want you to do is I want you to come over to the executive automotive society.com. We're going to be listing some stuff over there for you guys to see and understand and get into this kind of stuff that we're covering. And like I said, get some events out there that you guys can all be a part of. So I want to be, everybody tells me, hey, I never see a supercar. Where do I see a supercar? I'm like, well, you know what? Now you have a website to go do that. You can see all that stuff. And I want to put it up there. So, hey, you can come to a really cool event. Some of them are going to take some registrations and that kind of thing. But if you really are truly interested in enjoying some of the finest cars, which we're going to go in a second, and I think my guest just walked away. I think his door is getting worked on. But yeah, so that's the thing is when we get back from that, we're going to show you some of the coolest ways of going out and actually seeing a car show or seeing these cars that are really unique. So the first thing that happened this weekend was we went over to the Audrain supercar show. Let me think of the wording that it was what's the super in supercars. So to do that, we went over to the Audrain, but I have my guest here, Justin, and I want him to be able to share this moment with you. So let's introduce the guest right now. Justin Sherwood, a final inspection auto detailing. What's going on today, Justin?
How we doing, buddy?
You ran away for a second. I was kind of worried. I was like, where's he going?
Yeah, sorry.
It's okay.
It's called.
Nice, exactly. But yeah, so I heard are you having a good time over there?
Stressed.
When's your
the joys of being a business owner.
When's your next what's your next opening? So if somebody wants to do something when do they call you?
Well, I'm like midsummer right now.
Wow.
I'm busy.
Wow.
Busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. So if he won't make time for me, I know he's got to be really busy. So, but the thing is I know you were having a really busy time, so I wanted to brighten your day. We went over to this Audrain supercar thing, and I wanted to be able to share some of these cars with you and get kind of your input because I think they did pretty good detail on the cars that were at the show. But I'm going to have you look at it and take a look at it. The first one we have up is this one. Do you know what this one is?
SLR? No.
Good, very close. CLK GTR AMG. Right. And this is their homologated car.
Yeah.
I'm going to have a video that's going to be coming up Friday. So if you guys want to pay attention to that, Friday at 5 p.m., the full video coverage. We did put some stuff on the website there so you can check it out. But Friday at 5 is going to be the live video. And that video is pretty cool because we get to go spinning around cars. Now, here's the one that gets me. I always get tripped up by this. So what do you think this one is?
I have no idea.
That is a Porsche 959.
959.
Now, that right there was the one that they did that was the so think about it as they had a Group B in the what do you call it? Group B racing. And it was a pretty cool like little challenge thing, but it was very what do you call it? I don't know how to say it. It's rally racing, yep. But it was like a very fast version of rally racing. So it ended up getting kind of dangerous, if you will. And so what ended up happening is they ended up canceling it. So that was kind of a big issue. So they made this car. I don't think it ever actually won a race. It barely even got a chance to compete. But yeah, it was they made a street version of it, and I think they made very, very limited numbers on it.
Yeah,
But it was the coolest. It had brake bias. You could change the brake bias on it. You could kind of in cartoon, I think, a little bit with it.
that's
But
crazy technology for that time.
yeah, but what was crazy is that here's this car that really everybody should have loved. It was Porsche's pristine example of, basically a wide body 911
Yep.
with all this cool technology, and you couldn't drive it. Like, it was so rare that nobody wanted to take it out.
Yeah.
But anyway, I really think you'll like this one. This is probably funny enough, this is probably my top
That's
two
sharp
cars.
looking.
That is the CLK DTM. Obviously AMG. So this was another homologated car, and they had a lot of the homologated stuff. Like, in other words, cars that started off as race cars and had street versions. But this car right here was actually made to compete in the DTM, and they had to make a certain amount of them. I think it was, well, end up being like 30 cars. Like, you just see something like that, and you're like, that can't be rare. And it's like, no, that thing is super, super rare. But my pristine example, and easily the reason that I actually went to see that show, was this right here. You know what that one is, right?
A Vector.
I tell you, Vector W8, baby. One of 22 produced. I
That's
believe it was a New Jersey car, but it was absolutely incredible to look at. And I get
That's
so
stunning.
Yeah, I
haven't seen one of them in person.
Right? Yeah. So, dude, it's going to be one more month. You can go down and check it out. But
they do a good job down there, always rotating.
Yeah, this is a happy person standing next to my Vector W8. That's I could try. I would have stolen it, but I didn't have the time. So anyway. But yeah, tonight we're talking about detail, and obviously before we do that, I remember to everybody out there, don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget the bell icon. Our chat is open for comments, so if you guys want to get involved with that, we got some that was coming in. Shadowcat posted, wow. Let's have that. Let's see, where's this one? Oh, here we go. And then we have, this is ECS Magazine. Hi, friend. Hey, buddy, what's going on? That'll be Reggie. So, and then we got a hi from what do you call it? Franchise Pharaoh over there. So, but it is what it is. So I am under the impression that we are coming into spring right now, and the reason that you're getting so busy is because people are looking to do details, right?
Without a doubt, it's that time. Everybody's pulling their toys out from winter hibernation, and they're itching. So
now here's my question though: is that the only time that they should be thinking about detailing?
No, it's an ongoing maintenance. They like to get the I guess the bulk of it done, the big job done, usually in spring or before they even put it away for the winter. Right. And then throughout the season, they just do their basic maintenance on it. So detailing is always an ongoing thing.
So should you have your car basically detailed before you put it up, or should you have it specifically for when it, you know what I mean, for when it goes down?
It's to each their own. Everybody's different. There's no right or wrong way. Some people, if say their car was in the shop most of the season and then they get it back towards the end of the season, maybe they'll have it detailed and then it's ready to go when they pull it back out in the spring. Vice versa, some people do their work over the winter months. Their cars have fingerprints, handprints, they did a new build, the car could have fresh paint, whatever the case is. And they want to get the car ready now that the nice weather's here and get it going. So really, there's no right or wrong answer when it comes to that.
Yeah. So here's franchise. We won't hold it against the Vector for being a Jersey car. Oh, I missed that one from before. But and then Reggie over here, ECS Magazine, want to drop in and listen to the rich folks talking about cleaning their cars. Exactly. That's well, that's the beauty of it, is that you're going to see some cars today that aren't just rich cars. They're going to be cars that are regular cars that you'd be amazed at stuff that, like, it needs detailing. You know what I mean? So, all right, I'm just checking one thing here. So so that was the thing is, so there was something else I wanted to ask you about too. So with the stuff that's coming out right now, is there any new technologies that people should probably think about when it comes to cleaning their car that they should have an example of?
Yeah. So the big thing is paint protection film.
Hmm.
That's been really gaining a lot of traction over the years.
Yeah.
Same as also some brands are releasing what they call a self-healing coating, which the paint protection films have a self-healing feature
Right.
where essentially you stick the car outside in the sun or apply a heat source such as like a heat gun,
Right.
and it can actually, it's like a self-healing membrane, and it'll self-heal like micro marring, towel scratches, or what we like to call love marks from people loving on the car.
Right.
So that's a pretty cool technology, and it's one of those things. It's um, seeing is believing.
Right.
You would never believe it until you saw it with your own eyes, and it does work. It's pretty cool. So
Yeah.
if you told
So,
me 20 years ago, excuse me, this stuff would exist, I wouldn't have believed it.
yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show them something here, and I want you to kind of explain what it takes to get this image on your car.
Oh, that's a good one. That's actually an older photo. So that right there was a truck. I did that. Oh God, probably 6 years ago now, and had really nice, as you can see, super flat paint, so no orange peel, and that right there is just the result of really flat mirror paint.
Nice.
Um, that's that's a nice paint job on that truck.
Cool. And I had a couple of. What do you think first? You think the old car, or think we go with the Vet, or if we go with the Viper?
Whatever you want. I like them all.
All right, so let's show this Vet off.
Yes. Yep. That was a recent one. I just did that not too long ago, a few weeks ago, maybe last month.
Nice.
That car came in kind of hurting.
Really?
Typical black car. Yeah. Yep. It needed a good bit of love. I think that one had lived under a car cover possibly, or in a carport. I can't quite remember, but something caused a very unusual pattern of scratching and marring all over that car, where it was really on the top sides.
Nice.
The tops of the fenders, the quarters,
Right.
all the high spots. So that took quite a bit of work to get that back.
Nice. Now, we didn't show this one yet, did we?
Nope, we didn't show that one.
Now that was the thing is
Another
somebody
recent
said about our rich cars. Actually, I
Nope.
don't think this car is cheap in any way, shape, or form. But yeah. Now, what was the? I gotta ask what the demand really was for getting this car and like cleaning it up and.
Well, believe it or not, so he's in the process. This was strictly a race car. Obviously, you can kind of see by what's going on with the roll cage poking out and everything. And he's actually in the midst of turning it more into I guess, a street cruiser. An ice cream. Take the kids for ice cream type car. So he wanted it looking good. Paint was in pretty decent shape, but it just needed to have the gloss and clarity brought back. Had some swirls, scratches,
Yeah.
things of that nature. Just again from sitting, people putting stuff on the roof and on the trunk lid, while it's being worked on.
Typical,
So,
right?
Yeah, right. So he's a new owner of the car. He had purchased it recently, just before winter, and he wanted to get it ready so he could drive it this year and take it to the local cruises and have some fun with it.
Well, going back to the storage, I'm having some connection issues here. I don't know what's going on, so we're gonna have to troubleshoot this as we go along. I'm having somebody else troubleshoot it because I want to keep doing this video. If it doesn't come up live out there and you guys are having problems, I will just upload it separately, and that way you guys will get it one way or the other. So if you're out there and you're having some issues seeing it, I will upload the video. I'll just do it separately. We'll do it like that. But so yeah, the one thing that I was talking about, especially when it comes to coverage, is you were talking about how you felt, and I loved hearing you say this. How do you feel about car covers?
I'm not a big fan of them. And it may not be a popular opinion, but I'm gonna stand behind it. I feel a lot of the times they do more harm than good.
Right.
Especially if the car sits outside. If it's not in a garage and you put a car cover on it, we have these windstorms that blow through, the wind and rain, And if your car's dirty and then there's a car cover on it, you're going to create damage. Literally 2 weeks ago, I had 3 phone calls to fix rub marks and damage from carports and car covers slapping and rubbing up against people's paint, and they're freaking out. So I'm not a big fan of them. Not at all.
So here's another question. So this was something that that some people were talking about before. There was the kind of these pop-up covers, and so there some of them are inflatable, some of them are like mobile tents, but they're big enough to hold cars in them.
Yeah.
And they're unlike a garage. Like a garage is obviously enclosed space if you can control, the kind of
it's like a bubble for your car almost.
Right. So if you have something that you can have that, I mean, I guess no, a cover is better than no cover, I guess. But that's the thing is I kind of feel that the only real kind of cover that's going to protect your car and kind of keep you from having to keep up with to have some sort of upkeep is going to be something that's enclosed. But how do you feel about kind of just something that keeps it out of the rain? Does that help in any way?
Yeah, I mean, like a carport or a car shelter, those aren't bad. Again, as long as it's secure, and like the sides aren't flapping and beating up against the paint and stuff like that, then they're perfectly fine. That's better than nothing at that point. But having a tight fitting cover on the car, I'm not a fan of. The shelters and stuff are fine as long as, again, they're not slapping or hitting the paint or the bumpers of the hood. You have it sized properly. So,
so here, I'm going to show you this real quick, and you tell me a little bit of history of what's up with that.
That's a recent one. I just did that last week. Yeah, that truck I did when it was brand new 3 years ago, and it was time. He's on the job sites with it. He plows with it, and it was time to get that redone, and that's properly finished mirror black paint. That's how it should look. You know.
Yeah, that was one thing I was noticing, and I hope that people can see on that cover itself was how reflective, like you put the light right on it to see it, and it's like and we're going to show you guys a picture in a second that Justin shared with us. It really shows the before and after stuff that is just incredible. Like it's so cool to see the changes and the differentiations between the two, you know what I'm saying? Like it just
without doubt. And that's the thing, I try to do it right. I try not to play smoke and mirrors and hide work or any of that stuff. That's why you see most of my before and afters, just about all of them. There's a direct light source on where I'm working.
Just incredible. And the idea that you see, this is something that I really like. And I think that, and tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it seems like something that's important is to say a person who is detailing that can put the light on the car and be as transparent as possible. That's something that you want to be able to have. In other words, the stuff that you show just shows that difference between, this was your before picture, this was your after picture. I think a lot of people, especially in business, really don't, like if let's say I take my car to a dealership and I want to have a repair technician, I want to know what actually got fixed on the car.
Yeah.
So you bring out that part. Now with your stuff, you don't have a part to bring out. So you really have to take that picture, take it to somebody and go, this is why you spent the money you did. And that's the thing is when I see your stuff, it really does make sense. Like, okay, now I know why somebody would go to you because, of that look. So, Franchise Pharaoh, I hate having a black car as far as keeping its looks clean. Okay, there you go. I love having a black car as far as keeping its looks clean. Any suggestions? So do you have any suggestions?
Well, it's definitely a love-hate relationship. We always joke it's a full-time job. The biggest thing, especially if you have a black car that's like that Corvette, nice and polished and no swirls or anything, and it's looking like a mirror, how that vehicle is upkept and how you wash it and touch it is the biggest thing when it leaves here. So I sound like a broken record a lot of times with my customers because I try to drill it into their head how to properly wash and maintain their vehicles. I hand them a maintenance sheet. There's tons of good videos on YouTube and the internet on how to properly wash and dry and maintain a any vehicle, especially a black vehicle. So you just got to be that much more careful. Working clean buckets, clean wash mitt, everything super clean, and just not rush. Try not to,
Well, how do you feel about the ceramic stuff?
Coatings is the majority of my business. I mean, I just had 2 leave today. I had a G8 and a brand new TRX today. They both got full coating jobs. The long-term durability, the protection outweighs any traditional waxes or sealants. Now, again, if you have some vintage car with original single-stage paint on it, is that a car I'm going to put a ceramic coating on? No.
Right.
That would be a car that would get an old school Carnauba wax or something of that nature to preserve the original paint.
Is there? Hey, that's the thing is, I think a lot of people don't realize that time, especially like I had a car the other day. There was a really old car. I forgot what I want to say 60s or 70s, and the guy was like, "Yeah, it's original paint," and which I was very impressed with. But I mean, that kind of paint has different stuff that made that paint, and therefore it's going to take a lot of different detailing, right?
Yeah, to an extent. The single stage paint, the thing you get with that, obviously, because you're not polishing on clear coat is, and it freaks people out, is your pads will turn the color of the car. So if you're polishing a older red Ferrari with single stage paint, your pads are going to turn red. So you're getting that red pigment out. So you just got to be a lot more wary with single stage paint too, because it can be a lot softer. And if you burn through, now you're going down to primer. So clear coat. So but single stage paint, you can do some miracles with it, believe it or not. You can definitely have some good transformations with single stage if it's all intact and not cracking or any of that.
So going back to the ceramic and some of the things that you said with upkeep, now obviously there's a reason that everybody goes with ceramic. Is the how do I say this? The upkeep significantly different with the ceramic coating, or is it kind of in the same vein?
Realistically, I think that it's the same, just because you should really maintain a vehicle the same, whether it's coated or not. But that being said, with a coated vehicle, I always tell people try to avoid the automatic car washes as much as you can, whether your vehicle's coated or not. I mean, they keep me in business, I'll be honest with you. So it's job security, but I just hate for people to come here, spend a lot of money, stop blowing their cars through automatic car washes, which I know seems really easy to do in the winter months.
Right.
But, and it's convenient, but I tell people, listen, if you don't have time to wash it correctly and it's cold, just leave it be. And when we have time, we'll wash it properly, because that's when you start doing the damage. You start going through car washes and everything else. So as far as coatings go, again, avoid the automatic car washes. A big one is try not to let it get sprayed by sprinklers. You have hard water, same as hosing your vehicle off and just driving down the road. We're getting into pollen season. A lot of people like to
don't get me started. We drove the car out today, the truck out, and it's covered in what looks like a flower girl came by and sprinkled the whole car with these yellow petals.
So, and people's first reaction is to just hose it off and go to work.
Right.
In reality, you're better off waiting, wash it, and dry it. So you avoid all those nasty mineral deposits and the hard water stains. So it's really just simple maintenance, just a few simple things, and that's really about it.
The Silver City says, "Wow, didn't think about water hardness. Good tip." And that's the thing is I've known Justin for a while now, and there's just stuff every time I talk to you, it's something new. But you take me down this rabbit hole, and now we're here's the other thing. So right now, Amazon has a sale on pressure washers, and they actually have a nozzle on it that says for cleaning your car.
Yep.
So what do you got to say for that?
Yeah, I mean, I use a pressure washer every day, 1800 PSI. I wouldn't be using it like a concrete cleaning tip on it. I think the fan's a 40-degree fan. They have different color tips.
Yes, they do.
Usually 20 or 40 degree. 40 degrees, all you need. You don't need a 4,000 PSI gas-powered pressure washer blowing the paint off your car. But 1800 PSI, is plenty, maybe 2,000.
Yeah.
The biggest thing you really got to look at is gallons per minute. It'll
Right.
say usually you want something in the 1.2 to 1.5 range.
Yeah.
Those work good with your foam cannons. They get the nice foam and everything, and
Right.
then you're good. So yeah, I got no problem with the pressure washer.
Right. So, franchise fair, I'm assuming you also get what you pay for when it comes to ceramic coating. Are some of the less expensive stuff even worth it all? That is an incredibly good
Very good
question.
question.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing is the marketing. And I'll you know, you go into the store, you see all the stuff on the shelves, you know, ceramic spray this, those aren't true ceramic coatings.
No.
They're silica based sealants. They're spray on, wipe off.
Right.
You get some of the benefits of a coating, like the hydrophobic properties, but you don't get the long term durability. So they're great for the DIYer, the weekend guy, but they're not a true coating that cures, and you have to follow special instructions on applying it. So, yeah. So as far as the over the counter stuff, you get what you pay for.
Yeah. Well, and we're going to get back to that too, because I mean, if you don't mind, kind of get me over some trade secrets, I guess, of what brands you think are good for ceramic coatings, because obviously they're going to come to you. I don't think that many people want to put their own stuff on, especially with the self-healing stuff. I think most of the self-healing stuff, it's like,
that's professional grade only.
Right.
You're not buying that.
Right. But yeah, no, with my power washing thing, number one was I was kind of worried about how does it tell, like, you know, how do you keep the hard water out of it? And number two, like, you know, you were talking about pounds per, you know, the pounds that you're pushing out for it, or the PSI, if you will. But some of those things, they're just, Amazon sells them. They're made to be cheap. They will literally just say, use this specific nozzle. And I think that's something maybe we want to test down the road to say, you know, hey, does this nozzle actually do what it says it's going to do? I mean, I am worried about somebody actually basically like water blasting the paint off their car. And I've seen stuff like that happen. So
I did it.
Nice.
Guilty as charged many years ago, but it wasn't my fault. It was bad prep work on the body shop's part.
Well, that's the other thing too, is a lot of people will put that stuff up and they'll think, did I do something wrong? And I have to be honest, there was a one of the about the third time I had to replace my low bumper on my car. None of those were my fault, by the way. No, about the third time I bring it into a shop to have it worked on. It was insurance. It was in the insurance list, you know, the state approved kind of thing, which does not mean trust everything you read. But I took it to them. They apparently did not do what it was right. I took it to get something repaired or checked or whatever. And one of the processes was the guy does detailing in front of his body thing. And he put the high pressure thing on it. And all of a sudden he just scoured the paint off the front of my car.
Oh yeah.
And it was probably the most horrifying thing I'd ever seen, because I was like, did I do something wrong? And he goes, no, this was whoever did the body work to this. Did not do what they needed to do. And
promoter, prep, whatever it was. Yeah. And it just blew it right off.
Right. But that's the thing, is how many times have you had a car come in that you're ready to clean and you have to message the guy and say something was wrong with the bodywork?
Well, I just had a Corvette come in, an old C4. You might have seen it last week. It was a black 95 C4.
Yeah.
So that ended up, we had to do a different process. We weren't going to do a traditional polish and coating. There was a lot of stuff going wrong with that car, with the paint, given the age. Not to get off track here, but I have another product called X-Coat that I use for situations like this, which is essentially a self-leveling wipe-on clear coat. It's 2-part, has a hardener on it. It's not, would I use it on, you know, one of the cars here? No, it's not for that. It's for a car that the clear coat's tired on it. It's to buy the guy some time, restore the gloss.
Like buy some time.
Buy him some time before he needs a full repaint. The car's been in his family since new, so he wants to keep it. So yeah, it was one of those situations. I had to message the guy back, say, hey, listen, we got to change of plans. We're going to do an X-Coat service on it. You know, it's going to come out great. It's going to be the best, you know, the best thing to do in this situation. And he was plenty happy. The car came out nice, even kind of surprised myself on it. And
almost like he's talking to me about working on my car in the future, but no. I actually have. I think I actually do. My ceramic coat is pretty good. So it is getting to the end of its life. I don't think it, let me put it like this. If you give me a car, whatever you do to it, I will shorten its life by at least 2/3 or a third of what, if it's a 7-year ceramic coat, now
Yeah.
I'm done with it in 5, or if it's
Oh yeah,
5, I'm
yeah.
done with it in
That's
3.
that's the majority.
Right. Hmm.
Especially up here in the Northeast.
Right. Yeah.
Um, people, they daily drive their cars, but at the end of the day, a true good professional grade coating, whether it's by myself or another legit shop, whoever it may be,
Right.
it's still going to outlast any traditional junk you find on the shelf, no matter what. It just,
Right.
it's how it is.
Right.
The totally night and day difference between, wax on, wax off, and a coating. So,
Mhm. I got so many questions and they just all cram together. It's like this big thing. So what we're going to do, I want to go over, is there anything, that's the other thing. So is there anything like, cause I know there's certain things that you don't want to touch. I want to say like burnt paint. Do you know what I
yep.
mean?
Yep.
Is there things out there that you look at somebody and go, no matter how much you clean this, maybe it needs to do body work or whatever. Is it usually from the body side of it? Or, I mean, have you gotten something from a new car and you said, look, it's going to need something from the dealership. I don't want to clean it. Does that make sense?
Very rarely, very rarely. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't really think of anything from the new car standpoint. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I get new cars that are less than stellar.
Right.
I actually just had a CT5 Blackwing in here. I think they made 300 of them this year, 2022.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Guy bought it brand new, trailed it out, trailed it back here from New York. Car had maybe 100 miles on it. And whatever that particular dealer did as far as prep or whatever, the pre-delivery,
Yeah.
that poor car needed a lot of work. A lot of work, especially for a pearl white paint, to see what we saw.
Right.
Yeah, that needed some love. So even I was taken back by that. But I mean,
I
I've pretty much seen it all at this point.
Well, the funny thing was, if you remember that boat that was burnt up out in the ocean,
Oh yeah,
I thought for sure you were going to get a lot of those cars. You know
yeah.
what I mean? So you
Well,
come back in it, but
our friend Derek, over at Kicking Customs,
yeah,
one of his customers lost his Bentley on that boat, but
yes,
actually already got it replaced.
wow, no
Yeah,
way,
yeah, already got it replaced. He already
that's
took
awesome.
delivery of it, and yeah, I was shocked.
Bentley's a cool company. I've
Yep,
always liked them,
yep.
but
They already got
franchise
him a new one.
franchise is saying, "Sap, how can we cut down all the trees and stop landing on cars?" And then he added up with, "Oh, speaking my caddy language now." So, but yeah, so
Yeah,
now yeah.
unfortunately, tree sap. It's either don't park near the trees or park in a garage. I guess. I mean, if you got a heavily
Don't
wooded area, that's the only thing.
you couldn't park on the planet Earth. At least I couldn't. Like
Yeah,
if I literally could park in the middle of a football field parking lot. I could park in the middle of it, and I would still manage to find. It's painful, but anyway, it's just what we deal with. But
yeah,
and the thing is that people up here say it's bad. It really is. Like in the
yeah,
South, we get a beating, and the thing I like up here, we get rust, which is really bad.
yep.
Down there, you get, it's pollen, it's other things they really are. For me, the South hated paint.
Oh well, I remember living in
So,
Florida for 8 years. We had love bug season down there.
right, yeah.
Oh,
So
brutal.
animals
Yep,
and yeah, and that
yep,
stuff. But it was so funny because you'd get in cars. We get cars and they'd have perfect frames. The car would be down like you'd think it was out of a time machine, but the paint would, because the talc in it would just
yep.
absorb everything. So you'd have this like coating that would kind of ridge over the top, and you're like, oh, this is really, really bad.
Yeah.
But anyway, and you like get once you get that off, it's just going to be, it's worse. Like just repaint the whole thing. Don't bother. But yeah, so I'm going to jump into one of these things here. I think this is it. So this is pre-Viper.
Yep. ACR.
So what was the plan with this? Because we got an after picture. I want everybody to see. I'm kind of excited.
So this is a perfect example of what we call just love marks. This was on the deck lid. People, that's on these cars, it's kind of where people are opening and closing, putting their hands. So and this car only had 8,000 miles on it, so it's not like,
What?
yeah, this car only had
Wow.
8,000 on it.
So
And
what did they do to get this?
well, again, just touching it, loving on it, dry wiping it. People love their car dusters, stuff like that, and it's black paint, so it's
Yeah,
gonna
so it's gonna
show
show it.
everything tenfold. Um, so this just got what we call a standard two-step correction. I cut it with a nice cutting compound and finish polished it and
Mhm.
got all that mess out of there and made it all nice and pretty again.
So I gotta say, I judged a car show Sunday,
Yep.
or Saturday. Yeah, Saturday. So Saturday I go up and judge a car show. I think we did 200 cars, somewhere in that range. I
Nice.
judged. Yeah, it was. Oh, it's brutal, man. I'm telling you.
It's
Don't do it to yourself. if you can
I
avoid it.
can't go to a car show anymore. I'm cursed.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna get you out to something. I'm gonna find a way.
Yeah.
But I mean, because like a majority of the cars out there are so funny. I'll see these cars and I'm like, I know Justin worked on that. The grayish Camaro with the white lines that has the
Yes,
nice wheels.
my buddy Tom.
Every year, same spot, same show,
Yep.
like clockwork. He's there. I think he shows up at 2 when the show starts at like
Oh,
5.
probably.
Yeah, but anyway,
I
so
love Tom.
he's awesome, and this car still looks pristine,
Yep.
and it's so funny. I'm like, I know who did that. But so I'm judging Saturday, and that was the thing is I come up and I said, you want to? They're here to fight for trophies, and
Yep.
then I come up and I see this, and I was with some of the other judges, and they said they were like, oh, what are you critiquing about this? And I said, can you see the web or the Corona look on the
Yeah.
light? And I had my light. I was going to town on this stuff, and people were like, what's the deal? And I was like, this keeps you from having the perfect 5 score.
Yep.
But if you want to get the perfect 5, this is what it turns into when it's done.
Yes,
Look
sir.
at that transformation. So you said this was a 2-step process.
Yep.
Was this ceramic or anything, or this is just
That
normal?
was pre-coating. That was just
Got it.
the correction work. So that was a compounding and finish polishing step.
But I mean, that difference is just, here's my thing. I think people don't realize what they don't have until they see it and go, and that, and me and you, okay, we're going to say it right now. I know you're going to agree with me before I even open my mouth here, but working at shops that fix Ferraris and Lamborghinis, I've been doing it probably since 2009. I work with some of the best people out there, the best repair guys in the world. Their job is not to care about paint. Their job is not to care about cleaning and detailing and all that stuff.
You're absolutely right.
So when they come in, this right here is nothing compared to what I see. There is enough. I mean, do you have these cars come in and you're like, how have you been driving for the last? You spent $400,000-$500,000 on your car,
like
and I could literally count by numbers.
The Rolls Royce. Yep.
All right, so I'm gonna get to the chat right here. See if they'll see franchise. Oh, look at this. That just wow. I think that just I think that says it all. But so yeah, let's do this one right here. I wanted to save this to last, but I think this is a good time to bring this up. So
I don't know. Do you have the before pictures of that? I don't know if
I don't think I have. You can send it over to me right now on
I'll have to find them. I don't know if I got them handy. So that car, brand new Rolls Royce Ghost.
Yep.
I mean, beautiful. It didn't look like that when it came in. I mean, there was buffer trails, not all over it, but over the quarters, the trunk, some of the roof, the C-pillars, areas where they had, sanded out dirt nibs at the factory, little minor imperfections. And again, their job isn't necessarily to care about the perfect finish. It's to remove the defect at hand and send it on out, which I mean, for $400,000, you would think it wouldn't be like that, but it's not how it is. And it's a commonplace.
Well, you think about like paint is paint. I think because I mean there's a couple of companies out there that use I want to say electrolysis to put paint on, and they use special treatments and they do all these things and they do a lot of work to make sure the colors are perfect and everything's identical or it's unique to the customer or whatever. But once it gets out in the world, once it leaves that assembly line, and sometimes even when it's still an assembly line, the problems have already started. Yeah, I mean, they're counting the minutes until they need to call you up and go, hey, I mean, the car gets here and you go, the first thing I'm doing is calling you on the phone. If I bought a new car, I would call you on the phone and go,
I
get
get that.
ready.
I have people
Right.
book appointments. They give me the heads up that they placed an order for a vehicle.
Right.
And just
Exactly.
say, hey, FYI, I got whatever, a new truck, new car coming in 3 months, 4 months. Just
have you got any Broncos yet?
No, I haven't had a new. Actually, my transport guy has one that he should be taking delivery of soon that I should be getting in.
Good.
Either this month or next month.
Yeah.
So
no, I think that the Bronco. Those cars they use. I don't think it's specialized paint. There's just something about the paint on them that I was like, they did a good job with it.
Yeah.
But it needs to be loved. And you don't, the thing is people are going to have these cars for 6-7 months. And then they're going to realize real quick that,
the other thing is people will have a car that they've loved on and it's swirled and, starting to get scratch and wear and tear. And it gets to the point where they're washing it and they're probably not doing it right or running it through the car wash, creating more damage. But the car's already so swirled up, they don't see the added damage. And then when it leaves here and it's nice and it's close to perfect or as perfect as it can be, and then they go back to their old ways, they wonder, well, where did those scratches all of a sudden come from? Well, you're the one touching and washing the car, so
what's the worst you've ever gotten? Like, I mean, just short of like somebody keying the car.
I had, this was many years ago. I had, no lie, a Suburban get washed with Ajax. Yes.
How did that go?
So essentially liquid sandpaper, liquid.
Oh, of course. Ajax, yeah.
So
were you able to do anything with it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It looked like it got washed with steel wool, essentially. It took, I'll never forget that one. Yep. We were able to fix it.
I think Franchise has another question here. What about cleaning, maintain? Oh, that's a good one. Wraps.
Okay.
And what about the paint underneath? And what, if anything, it may do to the original paint?
So as far as the wrap itself, I always suggest if the wrap's new, getting it coated. That's the only thing that's gonna give a wrap a fighting chance. You're not taking a polisher or polishing compound to a wrap because that'll just create a mess in itself. Now, if it's gloss, you can polish gloss vinyl.
Really?
Matte vinyl, no. So anything that's a matte wrap or like the chrome wraps, no. Mm-hmm. So get them coated and hope for the best.
Yeah, because I had mine, and the guy came in, and the thing that I saw was he had almost, it looked like Windex that he was cleaning it with, and then he was lighting it on fire. And he was trying to tighten it up on the surface.
Crank it, yeah.
Yeah, but it was cool to watch it happen. And he said, it was the first installer of my very, very first wrap on the top of my vehicle. But yeah, I mean, we took the wrap off and put the new. We have the satin forged carbon now. And we took it off. Yeah, the paint was, you don't want to know. Like, it was definitely.
Really?
It wasn't bad, but the discoloration on it changed it to, maybe it's yellowed or something like that.
Could have been.
But they never sent me the picture. They just said, yes, it's the white car, right? Yeah. So he said, he never sent me the picture. He said he owed me a picture, but he said it was yellowed up, and he says he goes, yeah, that paint is going to need a wrap to stay on it for the rest of its life. Yeah. Which I that's the thing is I think with that car, I kind of knew that was going to.
Well, the other misconception is vinyl in itself isn't a lifetime thing. They're only good for 3 to 5 years, I want to say. Especially on a daily driven vehicle. And then if you're talking a vehicle that's down south in Florida or any of those states, it's even less.
Yeah.
It gets real dried up and brittle real quick.
The more you get to beaches, the less it's going to last.
Yeah. So vinyl's not a long-term ordeal.
I put mine on in, I want to say 2011, 2012. It was pretty beat up by the time, I want to say 2018, 2019.
Oh, yeah.
But it had lasted. And it was the carbon fiber wrap. So it was a laced thing on top. So I think that kind of helped it. It was like originally the vinyl lines went straight, you know what I mean? They had that perfect feel. And then after a while you start seeing as it kind of pulls in, and as it
Yeah.
does, the lines start to get a little wavy. You couldn't tell unless you knew what to look for.
Yep.
But I was definitely starting to see that it was, getting time to fix it. With the one I have now, that one lasts, like I said, it's probably like 7 or 8 years that it lasted, which was really nice. With the one I have now, I don't think it's gonna. I think 3 or 4 years is probably the best I'm
Yeah.
gonna get out of it.
Yep.
The only thing that is really going to be nice about it is, unlike the carbon fiber, which was, you could tell it got out of order, with a forged carbon fiber look to it. It's matte and it doesn't have all the,
Yeah.
it has the flake to it. So if it does kind of get out of whack a little bit, I don't think it's going to look too bad. But I think what's going to happen is it's going to peel. And I think
Probably.
when it peels, it's good, because this is something new we've never tried. I don't even know how many people have actually done something like this. I don't even know if this is what it was supposed to be used for.
Yeah.
But I do PD design over in Sharon somewhere in that area. But and they did a really good job on
Cool.
it. So, but the rest of it, the car is, like you said, ceramic coated.
Yep.
I wanted to do something so I could make it last forever. And the other problem is that I should have done it when I first got the car in 2011.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if we even had
That
you know what I
was,
mean?
yeah, that was the very beginning. That was just starting to, the
Yeah.
coding stuff was really at its infancy around
Right.
that time.
And but that was the thing is that when we were doing it, because I was working at Lambo at the time, that they had all these guys came out and they were like, you know what, you gotta do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the thing is I should have tried it. And I think that was the thing is a lot of people kind of hid, you know what I mean? Like they keep giving you stuff, but you don't think about it. You're like,
No.
it was cutting edge. And that's the thing is I had thought about it, but I just didn't pull the trigger on it like I should. And yeah, I don't know. I don't regret it, but that's the thing is, like you said, there's a lot of stuff that we make mistakes of that I make you a lot of money. So I guess that's the good thing about it. I don't regret it. Yeah. And that's
No.
the thing is I think that you were talking about it. It's no matter if you do the ceramic coating, if you do the other stuff, that there's so much stuff that both interior wise and other areas gets dirty just because life is life.
Yeah.
And it means I have to call you at the beginning of the year and say the next time I'll call you earlier, so that way I don't have to wait until.
Yeah. So typically on an average, say a daily driven car that I coat, I tell people, especially coming out of the winter months, to give me a call. We do what we call a coating maintenance service. It's a nice decon. It's essentially an express detail. Nothing over the top. If I have to recoat a panel or something, I will. But it's really just a checkup, essentially, to make sure everything's doing what it's supposed to do.
There's something so I was looking at stuff, and what is the deal with a clay bar? What's the thing with that? I've never gotten.
Oh, that's so clay's got to be one of the most misunderstood things in detailing.
I excel at misunderstanding.
so clay, essentially, its main job is to pull all the contaminants and get all that rough feeling, the grit, and all the road grime out of the paint. So if you wash and dry your car and you run your hand over it, or even you can we call it the plastic baggie test, put your hand in a sandwich bag and run over your paint, and it's all bumpy. It feels like braille.
Oh, I've been there before. Yeah.
Yeah. Then you need a good decon. You got to clay it. On the flip side to that is, clay. If you shouldn't have to clay your car every time you wash it.
Okay, got it.
You know what I mean? So unless you're only washing your car every 3 or 4 months, then yeah, maybe. But if you're regularly washing your car every Sunday or every other Sunday, you shouldn't really have to clay it.
But you use
clay's an abrasive by nature too. So you clay a dark colored car, and I mean it will put fine little marks in the car depending on the type of clay bar you're using. So
now you keep using the word decon. Now I'm guessing that's just from just regular road use. There's certain things that are on the road that
there's brake dust, there's fallout. I mean, if you're driving on the highway, pollutants, people kicking up stuff in front of you. Yeah, there's
drive it through
all sorts
Chernobyl.
of stuff. Yeah, yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. So,
Yeah.
a complaint I get on light colored vehicles, silver or white,
Yeah.
little they think they're rust dots, the little brown spots. It's
Okay.
brake
What is that?
it's brake dust, road grime, other stuff
Yeah.
that's just embedded itself into the paint.
Yeah,
So
I get something that is a seed from either. It's got to be some kind of plant thing, and
what
I'm
is it?
telling
The
you,
black dots?
it's a black dot. It's
Yep,
elevated, and
yep,
when you have to scratch it off,
yep.
and when it comes
So
off, it leaves a ring, and
here's a
I'm like,
science lesson.
okay, it's done. I'm in. Let's do it.
Science lesson.
Okay.
That's if this is real common if you park next to mulch. If you have a lot of landscaping, it's
Yeah.
actually artillery mold fungus. And if you look it up,
I'm parked
it
right next to mulch, like
there you
literally
go.
on top of it.
And it's probably peppered on one side, the side mainly next to the mulch.
Yeah.
Unless you have mulch on both sides. But yeah, artillery mold fungus. If you look it up, it's in mulch, a lot of mulch.
This is what I get for having the perfect front yard.
Yeah, exactly, right? So yeah, and that stuff it literally shoots those little spores and they stick all over the side of your car.
Now it all makes sense because now I'm like, it's been on just one side. And
Yep.
because I park with the mulch to the left, I was like, I've never seen it on the right, but whatever. But anyway,
There you
okay,
go.
so let's
Learn
talk.
something new.
All right, Let's Talk Live has a question for the guest. I have a carbon fiber hood that's clear coated. Is it okay to polish it with a wheel buffer, or will that be too harsh?
I would recommend more of a dual action polisher. If you're experienced with a rotary polisher or buffer, by all means, fine. I always say least aggressive method first.
Yeah.
So I would start with a DA. You can get, even Harbor Freight has decent dual action polishers and go from there. Start with that with a foam pad and work your way up. No sense being overly aggressive right off the rip if you're unsure.
Exactly. All right, so I got one more car. I don't know if we showed this yet or if we even talked about it, but I definitely want to go over because it's probably my favorite of the ones you've posted up, and this is nothing against your own car, by the way. But yeah, can you this was
Yep.
I was really impressed by this right here, and I think that the quality of the way this was done, and I just want to know, obviously we showed some pictures of the back end of this, but how much did this take to do? Give us a little detail on it so we can kind of get a feel for it.
So yeah, this car came in again. The owner had just purchased it right before winter.
Yep.
Came in off the truck. He didn't really drive. I think he bought it in like November. I think he might have drove it once or twice, and just around the block, and then parked it. And he's part of the local Viper Club, so he had reached out to book an appointment, and he's like, typical as you saw, the little swirls and love marks all over it. So definitely needed some love. We had to get the paint right for an 8,000 mile. You're talking, a car well into the 6-figure mark. So it needed some work. So we did that, got the paint squared away. We also did a wheels off service where I put the car up on the lift. I pulled all 4 wheels off. I get the massive Brembos cleaned and coated. All the suspension components were cleaned and coated. Nice. The wheel liners, the rear diffuser. I mean, pretty much every square inch of that car got clean, prepped, and protected from top to bottom. So now he won't have to worry about, including the carbon fiber, the big carbon fiber wing that was all polished out. Right. And coated the top and the underside. So, yeah, there was some time involved in that. It gets tedious. The paint itself wasn't too bad. I know those few pictures we showed made it look a lot worse, but overall, it really wasn't too bad.
And that's the beauty of it, is that, and for the people out there, because I do understand detail, and there's a lot of stuff that I took the class, I did everything. I just never sat down and mentored with anybody like I did with repair and stuff like that. But going back to this picture right here, this is nothing. Like, this is just, no. And the thing is I think that people see this, and what should really scare you is how much worse it can get.
Oh yeah.
If you don't take care of it, and how much more it takes to pull it back into place
Yep.
if you let it go.
You don't have infinite clear coat, and that's
Right.
the thing. So
Right.
repairing stuff like that on that Viper wasn't the end of the world. I mean, it's not like we're getting after it with crazy heavy compounds and real heavy wool pads and wet sanding and doing all this stuff. I mean, the newer abrasive technology with pads and compounds nowadays makes it a lot safer.
Yeah.
The finishes come out nicer. So that really wasn't horrible in the
No.
scheme of things.
Right.
I've fixed some bad ones.
Oh yeah, well that was what I was saying. I've
Yeah.
had Ferraris that came in, not so much at Lambos, maybe the older ones like Diablos, but the guys is they seem to take care of them, and there's something up with the paint that they did.
Yeah.
They actually painted those cars versus putting them through the machines. They actually went to shops and had that work done. So it was like when you saw that car, it was like there's something different about the paint. If you guys ever see the difference between for a new car today versus some of the older like Diablo and Countach's, take a good look at the paint, and then that's the thing is you'll see those images that Justin sent over, and you'll start going, okay, I get it now. But there was something with the Ferrari red that just, if you didn't take care of it, it would beat the junk out of you.
Yeah, it's soft.
So,
it's a lot of the older Porsches are known for softer paint.
I know that from experience.
Some people probably wonder like what I'm talking about, soft, hard. Right. Every paint system's different. Clear coats are different. You have paints, some clear coats are a higher solid, some are softer. Right. And they all polish out differently. So actually, going back to the Lambo, I had a brand new Huracan Evo, 2 or 3 years ago now, probably 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Orange, beautiful car. Literally, the guy called me the day after he got it, and I went up there to take care of it. It was in the winter, and I'd say 3/4 of the car had sanding marks all over it. Brand new. The paint was beautiful. It's flat. It was great, but I was going up there a quick polish and coat it and be done for the day, and that turned into a whole ordeal fixing all that. And I gotta tell you, I was shocked. Yeah, very shocked.
All right, well, I hate to say it, but we have come to the end of our show today.
It's over already.
I know, dude. Every time I have you on, that hour flies by. So you guys have been watching Justin Sherwood, Final Inspection Auto Detailing. I don't even know what town you're in. I think
I'm in Rochester, Mass.
I always say it is right down the street from me. But anyway, if you're looking for somebody that is nearby to you, that can do the quality work that you need to take care of your car, no matter what state it's in, obviously, since he works on my car, that there's a good chance that, if he can handle my stuff, he can handle anything.
Yeah.
But but yeah, that's the thing is I always appreciate you having on. And just thanks for going over the details with you. I hope to have you. Well, you know what? What we'll do then, how about we make an appointment for having you on coming into the winter, because I think some of the stuff we talked about today was storage related, and I think that is huge. I think we need to bring that back up to everybody. Yeah. So
I'm here. Yeah. I'm always here to have my brain picked.
Well, here's just before you do this, there you go. Thank you for letting opening detailing soon. And where did franchise go? Well, franchise put out a big thank you before. So, but everybody's saying thank you for coming in and being part of the group. So, great to have you. And anytime you have, if you have any new stuff that comes out that you say, like some of this self-cleaning, self-healing stuff or whatever that you want to bring up to us and show some of the stuff and share some of the pictures, you're always welcome to get in touch, and we'd love to have you. Sound good, buddy?
We'll have to make an appointment. We'll get your car in the shop.
No kidding. All right,
we got to get you down here.
I don't want you losing much sleep, but we will definitely do that, man.
Have a good glutton for punishment.
Right, everybody have a good night. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that bell icon. We will be back hopefully next Tuesday with our next guest. But thank you, Justin. We're gonna have a great night, and as always, guys, keep rolling.